All right, so now I'm gonna just shoot from the hip. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna go through the as much as the process as I can from start to finish. I'm gonna be pretty rapid about it, and you're gonna see sort of my ideas sort of evolve and kind of run with it. So, and this one be using as sort of a source inspiration. I want to do sort of more of the feminine kind of hand. So I have some ideas already generating in my head, and now I want to sort of start putting them down on paper and rapidly evolving these. So hope you find seeing this process as a source of inspiration, and so feel free check it out, follow along. All right. Okay, so let me move some of these windows out of the way before I get going here, because some things are just I use my reference as just a suggestion. It's not set in stone. You know, I don't have to like follow any specific one. So I'm going to sort of just like to sort of get like a kind of fill the page, just kind of get something, some ideas of where this. And I'm just sort of doing that first pass really rapid fire. Honestly, I don't know where some of these are going. I just know sort of what the feel I'm going for, but it's subject to change. I don't know, but I'm using a lot of the same principles that we talked about, just the forms, the basic. Not trying to get too chaotic here. Whoops. Whoa, what happened there? All right. It's just kind of really bizarre. I always think about the framing element to my design. It's kind of like where it's going. These are kind of fun, interesting. Try a different. Let's do. Let me just try this a different. Kind of getting the outer perimeter. Again, I don't really know where this is going, but I just kind of find something that I can that's working and run with it. See what happens. This, if it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. I haven't wasted a ton of time. I'm not trying to, So I got a nice arrangement here. I want to try to create. Let's see, maybe this will be here. Okay. Let's do a flat view. Never underestimate the power of a good side view or top view just with your shapes. It's really how really good designs really start is from the basic views, and then once you kind of get something going there, you can make it three-dimensional, and it should, you know, it can hold. You have a better chance of it holding up if you can solve it here. But there's nothing wrong with just jumping right in and seeing where things going. I just have a little things for labeling and notes. Just sort of guessing here. This is my way of like labeling the page and sort of getting. I'm gonna lower the opacity, and now I'm gonna just trying to I have a sort of idea in my head, but just not sure if it will be pulled off just. So I sort of when I'm unsure, I sort of jump around, and then I can kind of see if it's I'm not applying any shading just yet, but stay zoomed out as much as you can, until it's time to really detail. But I always want to make sure I zoom out. If I do zoom in, I'll make sure. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Let's get these fingers situated. I don't like this idea that it's something here. Maybe it's. Oh, trying to think of what am I going to do with that. Maybe it's sort of forbidden fruit. So you kind of use a little bit of a sort of a suggestive line work to carry the idea forward. I'm not sure. I like this idea. S- kind of. A little bit of the aristocratic. I think we gotta go a little bit bigger to really get this. Something like that. The bite. I think for purposes of this, like stylistically, probably gonna pick a little bit something more stylized rather than just go after like a realistic. Some evil, like a worm or whatever. Right. You get too close to the edge, then you can always move these around together. Select both layers and just move them around. Just- I'm going after like sort of the Halloween theme here. That's not obvious, but that's sort of what I'm going after, right? So for me at least, I want to try to capture this in a unique way, but let's get this. So I kind of want there to be a little bit more of a taper to this. I think this could be really interesting. Yeah, I think I like that. Just not really pushing that taper and pushing out this edge. Making sure your forms interact logically, like they don't just um, creating nice overlaps and that they connect well. It's always pleasing to the eye. Sometimes it's easier said than done. But that's fun. I like that. It's kind of fun. It's just getting. Just kind of having something that frames it. It's really nice. So we get this nice sort of, this direction. All right, boom, boom, boom. And So repeating those rhythms throughout the design. Maybe this even kind of curves over. This sort of plays into that. Would be funny. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm just doing this literally because as an opportunity, but these are little worms too. It could be funny. Just sort of indicated for now, but sort of get the point. I really want to do something really interesting with the knuckles. I just don't know yet. I think I want to make sort of like these, uneven knuckle seams. Could be really cool. I just don't want to, I think this is getting really overly detailed to a certain extent for the style I'm really thinking of. I'm using sort of like skateboard graphics, or t-shirt graphics, sort of, right? So they're sort of attached, stapled, or stitched. So there's a little bit of some cartooning and sort of abbreviation in this. That's okay. And certainly, you can feel free to do that. That's what you're going for, that's sort of the type of work you're. Right. So I got a little carried away with that, not a bad result. I'm not hating that at all. I can do a lot with that. Imagine if this is version 1, right? Let's just say this is version 1. Imagine version 4 or 5. This is going to be really dynamic. Make this hand really feminine, kind of Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein-esh, dripping layers of skin and bone exposed, and the poisonous fruit with the worms coming out. Man, I like the concept. So you can, it's really, if you're willing to work through the layers, you can probably do some really cool stuff. I'm almost very tempted to take this here and sort of do just to really stick off that pinky. I think it's just kind of funny. Right. So again, that just pushing that design, here's that. There's that. I'd like to adjust the scale to this right here, this thing here. As a sketch, not bad. I can sell that. I can easily get that going. All right, time for the next one, right? We got to move rapidly, right? That's a trick with these, is you want to just get the idea on the paper and come back to it, with a fresh thing. You just to labor over and like make it perfect too fast or whatever. You're gonna kill the chance for all the others to have a fight in the game, to sort of. So, all right. I think with this one, I'm going to be a little bit more softer. you know, finding my groove, you know, you just kind of, I can just literally just watch the pen do the thing. It's like watching magic. If you do this enough, it's eventually the tool, the autopilot along with the tool just outputs. You know, you're just like, wow, it's just easy. Not to think so much. You know, you just sort of, I can just kind of sort of steer the rudder so that they're kind of not always gonna give you stellar results, but just kind of fun when that happens. Don't be afraid to edit. You know, use the eraser tool to clarify or adjust take on a different approach. Avoid using the eraser to make things look perfect. I think that's the trap. When you're just erasing because you think it's going to make it look prettier. I think that's where you get into the misuse of it. To me, that's very time consuming. I don't want to waste the time. I'd rather use it to make the design, you know, like, I don't like things to touch, so I'm gonna move um this guy here. Just gonna move it over. It's not the end of the world if it, you know, if it does or whatnot. Um it's just gonna be better. Same thing with sketch. This is the only problem with this approach. You know, if you're sticking to a certain look, you might have to um deal with it a little bit just as you go. I just sort of know what I want, so I want to. These are here we have like two hands. Um, I want the fingers to be the nails to really be the anchor point. Let's keep this a little bit. We have to try to make sense of this to make it work. Let's make this a little bit steeper, I think. Sometimes you have to slow down and really look at it and see what's the best at, you know, for this particular area. I think moving faster, I find just you'll make mistakes faster rather than if you just slow down, you can actually increase your speed by just assessing and making a proper decision. And I'm guilty of that all the time. It's always a constant battle of just you know, slow down, take a look at it. You know, you can also flip your canvas. You know, I like to do that, and you see it at a whole different light. I don't like the idea of I want the knuckles to really pop, but then still kind of like kind of blend into the soft. I don't know. It's a tough. You know, I always like to think of like adjectives, cute and creepy, or dark but beautiful, whatever. um I was trying to think of that, those kind of opposing. How do I like? I think it's very challenging, the use of prompts that involve the sort of like some kind of duality or dichotomy. It's just like just gonna play with that, kind of like that. This is like the reverse of the praying hands. They're like sort of dripping with bloodshed. That'd be really cool. Like they're almost are being dipped in blood or something. Or maybe it's like slime or something, or goo, so it's something that's really gross. You could you can make that case. I think for these the details, I need to be simple. I want this in terms of this style I'm thinking of, so it's all going to sort of blend in to this effect. I want things to be even Steven, so if you stop, what you're going for isn't necessarily being conveyed, don't worry, don't you can always get it. Then when you come back to it, take a break from it, draw something else, work on something else, come back to it. I don't try to necessarily get everything all at once. I actually like I like discovering sometimes things aren't working, and then I just kind of either take an opportunity to do some to ride with it, run with it, or come do another uh um take on it. You just have to be willing to accept that. Sometimes it's not always convenient, obviously. All right, so we got this knuckle line. I want to push that down a little bit. Push this one even further down. I think that could be really interesting. And then I'm gonna start accentuating, sacrifice a little bit of those that we have so much detail in here. So I want to now surround all that detail with simplified. This is like I was talking about earlier, just trying to make it make sense the best you can. It's just, you know, needs no explanation, and so you're not always going to get it. You have to, you just learn. Like, okay, that sometimes your failures or what are your victories. Let them. That's the way you learn. You just the more you fail, the more you're closer to that sort of hitting, that home run or whatever. So, all right, so now I'm gonna create some overlap. Always nice to have some kind of overlap to your design. So this is like really long gown sort of thing. Um, right, rotating your the page. If you can imagine, most of this will be, all in shadow. I think all this will be in shadow, maybe. I'm guessing. This is where I can kind of push those shapes. All right, and then we have maybe the other one. I like to leave a little bit of the paper color to show through, pop through, just in terms of a style thing. It's just my own personal. I mean, I didn't invent it. I like the look of it. So, I want that to be kind of pop through rather than being, just all kind of solid filled. It's more for the finishing stage, but I want to indicate it a little bit here and see. All right, could be cool. All right, a little bloodshed there, or goo, or whatever. From a shape standpoint, you can kind of see, like, maybe if I flip this, it's easier to see. Maybe I want to push this a little bit more. I want there to be almost like this long, continuous, like sharp edge. And it's also framing, a lot of it's just trying to find creative ways to frame these sketches, these sort of vignettes. I think it's just really what it boils down to. Now I can kind of see how I'm, like, at least for me, I feel like the hand is still very too short and stubby. I want to make this distance probably another 30% longer this way, and even this, maybe take this and extend it. So I think this definitely is going to need another pass to really accentuate these sort of really almost like beautiful but elongated, kind of stretched out proportions. I feel like I got a little too set in stone with this distance. I really should have pushed it. But anyway, so I'm just gonna start tackling the next one. Just kind of assessing my layout here. Yeah. Kind of want to play with that. There's something I see some people have really like that really bony knuckle there, and then there's like a indentation. I just don't know how to convey it this location, but I was hoping to be able to set that as a precedent, but I don't think I'm gonna get that right now. Something up here. It's almost like the knuckles are almost like exposed bone, you know. They're just they're so protruding. Yeah, I like where this is going just from a anatomical kind of, at least the vibe I'm getting. Really thin, you know, the skin's like almost just no fat. I'm gonna have to compromise a little bit of my initial framing. I want to push a little bit this forward. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try it. That's kind of fun. Oh, okay. So the fingers now. How are we gonna do this? All right. So, well, so this knuckle. I think you can bury this one here, and this one pops out. Actually, I think I'm gonna go just full blown. Will that work? I'm not sure. I think it's a little too cramped there. I want to cinch this part in, but let's look at this knuckle line. Relationship to there. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit stretched. It's okay. You can kind of see, you know, I like to try to look at it in different ways and see what I can get. This thing is receding in space, so like if this is a cylinder, it's going back this way, so the nail has to sit onto that cylinder and recede in space, so it has to get smaller. Everything it's going to get a little smaller. But if you can kind of easily overdo this, there's like that sweet spot where it's like it recedes, but it's not too perspective-y. There's like a point where it's just right. So it's just one of those where it's just an experience thing. You should do it enough times. You sort of will build a intuition to what just looks good. But when you're first learning it, yeah, you definitely, oh, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I just realized. All right, so we gotta figure out the context of this. I just don't know yet. Maybe this is like a pen, like one of those like Mont Blanc pens, like fountain pens. But it's like kind of filled with like it would be funny. It's like drawing. I actually don't know these pens, like how they really look. So I'm just going to guess it for now. But at some point, I'm going to have to, look at reference, what I mean, for the actual, reasonable believability for this. What's iconic, obviously, is the nib, right? That middle nib. And so now, we can kind of take this thumb and take advantage of that. But I don't know. Right. And this is where, sometimes you gotta murder your darlings, something's too precious. You're not gonna want to change it. So, I'm very much a believer. If you need to change, you gotta be willing to just obliterate it and just do it again. Now we're starting to get somewhere with this. This is kind of cool. Maybe this fountain pen, there's like I think it's too small, but it would be kind of cool. There's like all these like, people inside, so like drawing with the blood of these, maybe there's zombies or something, maybe there's like a floating brain in here. It would be kind of cool. It's like a human brain. And that's just like, out float, drawing with that. So now this is the new first pass. All right. So I can draw over it. Now I see the time in order to avoid getting really lengthy with this design, I'm just going to go back to this one since I feel like I really like where this is going. And maybe we can kind of give a little bit of quick color into it. So I'm going to create a layer right underneath it. And I'm going to fill it with some color. Just want to kind of fill it with let's try to see where this goes. Let's go a little bit more green. Maybe more, a little bit more. Let's go a little bit lighter, less saturated. Just kind of finding that sweet spot where I think that will work. But then again, let's try this side. Yeah, that will work. Okay. So I'm just essentially going to fill this like a coloring book. So it's on a separate layer. This layer is independent of the drawing, right? It's on right underneath it. And I can kind of just fill it in. Some things aren't going to make some sense. We'll deal with it at some point. Right now, just try to find maybe like a second value or another. I'm gonna pick another color, but really I'm thinking about the value, how light it are. Like this is maybe the maybe this is the shadow. So now I'm gonna go a little bit lighter and a little bit towards that could work. I could see that. This is sort of like the highlight of that. But I think it's actually be more interesting if I just add in some other local color to this. So I think that could be really cool. So maybe this part, it's green. So it's like we're kind of coloring in those patches, for my design. These different patches, and then let's try. I want something that so that would that be cool? I'm not sure. Let's try. And this is completely opaque. There's really no nuance to this. So and then let's do some lighter interior. So help sell. It's just like a coloring book. No tricks here. I'm not trying to like do anything fancy. I'm not even trying to be perfect with it. I mean, where that's obvious, maybe overspray, I might delete it a little bit, but because this is a sketch, right? I'm not at this point. There's still a lot that is to be had. But let's think of these worms. I think that's would be a cool. Give them their own. Let's try. Would it be this? No. That doesn't look. Oh, I see. I'm drawing with the wrong. That's why it wasn't here, right? Maybe these worms have to be that yellow green, I think. More green. As you can kind of see, I just try these kind of colors, just kind of see. I think that yellow green has to work because I can't go into, I lean into the green too much. I think this could be really cool. And the rest is all pretty much, I think I'll do something like a darker version of this here. I just don't want to deal with having to detail it. And you still have the opportunity to adjust the drawing. So in this case, I might come in here and clean up or whatever, kind of. I think it's important to keep the colors the same, be consistent. So you can hold down while you have your beef or brush, brush activated. You can hold down option and color select your colors, or just check your swatches palette. I want to punch in some big areas of dark here. This just helps to create a definitive perimeter to the design. I feel like the underdrawing underneath, I want to give it just some color. I think it would be really cool. I like using this hue sat. And then the line just sort of offshoot, just kind of help help selling that design. I'll come back to my color layer and I can kind of clean up wherever I need to go. Another little trick you can do, if you want to spice it up a little bit, would be just to pump in some quick highlights and shadows. So one way I like to do this is just make my brush maybe like a 30 or 40% and just switch its brush mode to multiply. Maybe you can try that. And if you just take like a dark color, it's sort of gonna do like a shadow over it. So you could do it that way, or you could do the reverse. You could take like, instead of multiply, you could take like screen or lighten and take a lighter color and do the highlights. It's really cool. It's kind of fun to play with or whatever. See what you come up with. You can kind of overdo it for me. Like I want to keep that graphic quality. So maybe on just the staples here, whatever these things are, I might do it and just kind of give a little bit of highlight. I'm kind of avoiding any kind of light logic per se. But you could get really like light logic-y with this. And like, let's say you want to give this, maybe that doesn't look so good there. Let's see, let's try this. Something up here, it's like Apple or something. Sometimes I like to do some color overlays. All right, so it's the same idea. I'll take the color here. Right, it's kind of fun. You can use color overlays, another one. Take kind of a middle tone saturated color, and you can kind of do some, using that same sort of brush, kind of do some color differences in there. It's kind of fun. You gotta keep in mind, like, this is all just like you're sort of just suggesting. You don't want to go in and you can easily overdo this. I'm expecting, if you're following along, you're gonna try this. Feel free. You can break the rules, go overboard, but I find being a little bit more controlled with it will be better in the long run. If if all this stuff does is a little bit much as far as I really suggest just getting to this sort of graphic color pass. So where you take away, I'm going to undo all that, go back in time. We'll get to there in just a second. Go. Come on. I really should just use the history palette, but a little lazy right now. Right there. So getting to this point, I think is great. You can come back to it another day or run some passes or make a new layer, set up do the same thing but with on a separate layer, instead of doing it all on the same one. You could just come back and now it's on its own layer. That whole effect is on its own layer, and you kind of lower the opacity or erase into it, right? You have the ability to erase the pixels from that layer, so it only affects certain parts. It's always kind of fun to make it only affect certain parts, whatever. You can always erase into it. That's what's nice about it. When you do it on its own layer, you can really cut into it and do some really nice chiseled edges. All right, so give it a shot. Explore with your ideas. I'm gonna probably finish this off camera, probably at a later date, maybe tomorrow or whatnot. But just want to show you a little bit of sort of the concepting here, the idea, and just evolving a design. Am I like stoked on this? I like where it's going. I don't like it exactly, but I do like the feel tone of it. There's a lot of things I want to push. So give me another 5 or 3 or 4 iterations of it. I could probably get it where it's finalized, like boom, solid. Same thing with all of these, so there you have it. I'm hoping to see, for those of you that want to take it to that level, here it is. This is what I would say would probably be the most grandiose version. So have fun with it. Hopefully you saw some useful information here, but yeah, go for it. Have fun. And I had fun with these. I look forward to taking them further. So, and there you have it. All right, peace out.